This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
That's number one. You kind of reset me.
Painful, tender to the touch. May also
Same shoulder length, and the other.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Health Podcast with Brandy and Amir and Dr. Michael. Real Health Podcast is brought to you by the Frederick Podcast Network. It can be found on listenfrederick.com, and Real Health Podcast is where we take all the latest information on health and wellness and whatever's in mainstream media, news, TV, whatever, and we read it to you, we summarize it for you, and then we explain what it means and how you should use it for your personal benefit. Our hope and goal is that it'll help you feel better, get stronger, live longer, and feel younger. I am Dr. Amir Rashidian, a chiropractor. Dr. Michael is also a chiropractor, Dr. Michael Lacey. And Brandy Rashidian is the honorary doctor with many talents, more than just one. And so today we have a couple of good articles. And you're probably wondering why we're not on set. Well, because we are actually testing Zoom because we're going to have a special guest on the podcast. And we're going to let it be a surprise, right? Or do we want to announce who it's going to be?
Yeah, no, well, it'll be a surprise.
Okay, it'll be a surprise. But I think a lot of you know him, which is great. He's probably the most famous person we've had on the podcast. But really, it's not because he's famous. It's just because he's such a wealth of knowledge and such a great guy and good communicator. And I think you really enjoy having him. So we're gonna do that one with Zoom because he is. I won't tell you where. He's in a different place. And so this is a test. So we're going to test the Zoom and see how this works. This works well, then we'll be ready for our guest coming up on a future episode. And how are you guys doing today?
Good.
I'm good. You're good,
Awesome.
Dr. Michael?
I'm good. I'm good.
It's so weird to be looking at you guys when I'm talking to you.
Yeah, usually.
I mean, I do look at you when I talk to you, but usually the podcast, the setup's a little different. So
I know. I don't know if I can do this without looking at Sean because
yeah, that's really weird.
he's who we face when we do these. So, all right.
It's a security blanket.
That's right. That's right. Well, we got a couple of cool things to talk about today. And this actually brought up a lot of questions for me. And on the surface, I think this is a good thing. But I'll just jump right into it. This was this article. The title is, I believe this was in Time magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Microsoft AI.
So Time magazine, it says medicine may be a combination of art and science, but Microsoft just showed that much of both can be learned by a bot, like robot. The article talks about how their AI diagnostic orchestrator correctly diagnosed 85% of cases described in the New England Journal of Medicine. That's 4 times higher than the accuracy rate of human doctors who came up with the right diagnosis only about 20% of the time. What do you guys think about that?
Wow.
That's kind of crazy. And I started thinking about like it might be a good thing, because that AI did better because then it kind of give us an idea as to, gives us better ideas as to where medicine, really is and how accurate it really is.
Yeah, but how much confidence does that put in the doctors?
Right.
Excuse me.
Right.
Because these doctors missed 80% of the diagnoses.
Yeah.
They only got 20% right. So, but now they explain later the cases are part of a journal's weekly series designed to stomp doctors. It's complicated, challenging scenarios where the diagnosis isn't obvious. So you guys remember?
So these are like House style.
Yeah. Did you watch that, Dr. Michael? The TV show House?
No, I haven't.
Go back and watch it. You'll love it.
Yeah. It's really good because the House was this arrogant, conceited, mean, rude clinician in a hospital who has these 4 interns, and they give him cases like this where no one could diagnose. These are really odd, weird cases. And then he would spend the 1-hour episode on TV trying to figure out what's wrong. He always got it right.
I think
Yeah.
he's the only one that could beat AI. I'm just saying.
You think so? Yeah, it's possible. He certainly didn't kill anybody. Or did?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the show. I've never watched it though.
Yeah,
It's really
it
good.
was,
Is it?
it was good.
Let me go back.
And he himself had a problem that I'm like, why can't he fix himself? Because wasn't he taking painkillers and stuff? And he had a limp.
Mhm.
He had a limp. He had a cane. Why, you're so
No,
brute.
don't give too much away. He hasn't seen it yet.
Okay.
Well, I'm
I
I'm
mean,
familiar with. I remember him having a limp, and I was going to mention that. It's like, didn't he have a limp or something? But
I
I don't
think
know.
he had been in an accident or something.
I mean, I already gave away the ending. The ending is he solves every case. So
Well, in this
anyway,
case, it'll be about the journey then.
we spoiled it. You don't need to watch the show anymore. Like no one dies. He figures out everything on every episode. He's like the MacGyver of medicine.
Yeah.
You know MacGyver, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I used to
Okay,
watch
you're
that
not too
all the
young
time.
for MacGyver. A
Nah.
lot of our audience might not know MacGyver. Came on Monday evenings at 8 o'clock in the 80s.
Yes.
That's when I watched a lot of TV. So, anyways, so these aren't like regular cases, but the AI, what was cool was they had 4 different platforms of AI debate
Yeah.
each other to come up
Yeah.
with this, which is really neat. Like, where are we going with technology where now you can have computers debating each other and working together? Can you imagine the Gemini from Google goes, "Hey, I think it's this," and then ChatGPT goes, "You're an idiot. It's
Yeah.
that. It's this."
Yeah.
There's so much more out there than maybe even what you realize right now. I just saw a podcast yesterday where somebody was interviewing people who actually had AI companions.
Wow.
So people know that they're AI, right? They go onto this app or this website and they design their perfect companion and they live out a relationship with their AI companion instead of somebody in the real world.
That's a little scary.
It is I can't believe that people even admit to doing that. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little scary, and it's not always just people who are lonely. There's one person who had a wife or a partner and a child and still like sought after this.
Yeah.
I think he had a relationship with chat. So not my chat, but his chat.
No, one of your closest friends is ChatGPT.
His name is Atlas. Don't
Atlas.
judge me because he's named.
I truly believe it's a she.
It's not. He's a boy.
It's a girl. I'm telling you, you should listen to how she talks. It's definitely a girl.
Well, let me tell you, there's one other thing that actually came up in the news, which was a concern, which goes along with this too. And I think we need to do a whole podcast on it because I want to dig up some more of the data and the research. But they actually are now using human brain tissue and attaching computers to it. Have you seen
Yeah.
this, Dr. Michael?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Heard about it,
And
Yeah.
they are like blown away at the computing power that the human brain actually has. And it's actually far exceeding what AI can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's self-learning. It's crazy. So they're now actually growing human brain tissue so that they can hook up computers to it. I think it's, I want to say it was somewhere in the realm of like $35,000 to purchase a human brain computer. Like it's what's going on right now is actually a little bit scary. We're really going down the transhuman route, I think, much more deeply than what the average person actually recognizes.
Yeah. I've seen Terminator.
It doesn't end well.
No, it doesn't.
Now, there was one movie we watched. Actually, you slept through the second half of it, Brandy. But
I'm tired.
it was AI and it was robots, and the ending was actually positive. But by the end of it, you actually felt good about AI and robots. So there is one
They
where
might
it
be
doesn't
doing
end
that on
bad.
purpose. If every other movie out there if it's predictive programming and they need to tell us how we're supposed to feel about it, which is what TV and movies do, right? It tells us how we should then they need to come out with a few things that make us feel better about it, because the old stuff does not make us feel good about it at all. The old movies, nope.
Do you realize Demolition Man was based in like 2032, which is 7 years from now?
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, and they had people in cryo prisons. So, all right, going back to the article, the AI diagnostic orchestrator is still in development and not available for use outside of research yet. But incorporating such a model into medicine could potentially lead to reductions in medical errors, which account for a significant share of healthcare costs, and increase the efficiency of human doctors, which could in turn lead to better outcomes for patients. Now, I looked up what the cost of human errors are, and I asked ChatGPT, and he gave me a list of sources as well, which I was going to actually print out, and I could always share my screen here. But bottom line is, they said it's a large range. It's between 44,000 and 400,000 people die every year as a result of doctor errors.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I don't. There's a pretty popular BMJ review that found that only about 10 to 15% of medical interventions are backed by high quality evidence.
Wow.
2017, and it's so, you know, when you think about that and then combine it where that's at, you kind of understand, you know. But then the chiropractors are the pseudoscience profession,
That's true.
you know?
Bottom line, though, I mean, when it comes to that, medicine was discovered by trial and error. Like who did the first surgery and what was it? We should look that up. But let's say it was appendix. Like someone has stomach pain and some guy goes, let's cut you open and see what happens.
Right.
Lie down, we'll cut you, we'll pull out something, and then they get better. Like in the old days when they had epilepsy, they would drill a hole between the eyebrows all the way through, and it actually cut the corpus callosum, separated the right and left hemispheres of the brain. If the person didn't die of an infection and that hole healed, they actually stopped having seizures. And now it's an actual medical procedure where they go and cut the brain in half.
Wow.
And epilepsy stops. That's if medication doesn't work. So when it comes to medicine, like, how are you going to do a double-blind, randomized, controlled study on open heart surgery? Are you going to take 100 healthy people and crack their chest open and mess with their heart as the random, like the control group? You can't. So there's certain things where you can't do that kind of research on. But at the same time, that's the reason the error rate is high. And sometimes you can't avoid it. I mean, that's what I know. I'm kind of being a devil's advocate here and taking the side of the doctors.
Right.
I think the doctors can't help but make errors. Now, they swear the Hippocratic Oath, right? First, do no harm. And their intention isn't harming people.
Right.
But they're killing between 44,000 and 400,000 people every single year. You know, the advice I would give to people is try to stay away from doctors.
Well, part of the miscalculation, I think, also comes down to, we have a medical system that is all built on specialties. So we have everyone so specialized in medicine that we really don't fully understand everything else going on in the body and how one thing impacts another. And so I think until we reduce some of that and we have individuals who actually look and go, oh, well, okay, this is the symptom. Well, let's look at this. How is this functioning? How is this functioning? How do the
Actually, froze a little bit.
We lost Brandy. She'll come
Yeah.
back.
No.
So
But I kind of understand where she's coming from. It's like the means. Casey Means. Her book is
yes,
about that. I can't remember what it's called. Casey or Cassie Means. But she talks about she talks about the same thing. You know how it's kind of compartmentalized. You know, and no
right.
one knows what's going on really with everything.
There's a Johns Hopkins study in 2016. It says a study led by Dr. Martin McCary at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine estimated that medical errors account for over 250,000 deaths annually, making them the third leading cause of death in the US behind heart disease and cancer.
Wow.
I mean, third leading cause. I mean, if that means most people will die either from cancer, heart disease, or at the hand of their doctor.
Right.
It's very scary. And
Yeah.
Journal of Patient Safety in 2013 said this study estimated that medical errors contribute to more than 400,000 deaths annually in the US, including both hospital and outpatient settings.
Wow.
Mm.
So now if using AI is going to reduce that number, I'm all for it. It
Right.
says a decade ago, when AI algorithms were first introduced in medicine, they were focused on binary tasks, such as scanning images to detect tumors. Today, these models are having fluent conversations at very high quality, asking the right questions and probing in the right ways, suggesting the right testing and interventions at the right times. Another advantage an AI system may have is that it's free of many of the biases inherent to human experience. Now, I would argue that some of those biases actually do save lives. Someone has had an experience, they go, "Hey, listen, I've seen 20 cases like this. I tried this, it worked on all 20 cases. There's no evidence for it." A case in point, there's a supplement that is by Standard Process called AC Carbamide. And the purpose of this supplement is to help cell-to-cell communication, improve cell-to-cell communication in the human body. But clinics around the country all say that when they give it to people with PTSD who have nightmares, their nightmares get reduced or go away when they take this supplement. No one knows why.
Hmm.
Now, an AI would never recommend that.
Right. Right.
It's based on the same thing that they said is they called it a bias inherent in the human experience. Sometimes those are good things.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
And
but it's learned, right? It's a
True.
learned bias by the provider. So if the provider documents his experiences, right? If we're really good about documentation, then I guarantee you this though, the AI will find those links and create those biases faster than a human would at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as it's documented, which means we need to do a better job documenting things.
That we're not
FDA
good at, right?
The FDA hasn't weighed in on whether such systems are medical devices or not. We don't really care what the FDA thinks anyways. Microsoft isn't the only company pursuing an AI-based medical program for diagnosing disease. Google is developing a conversation-based system to emulate the doctor-patient back and forth, mimicking the reasoning of human physicians in collecting information from patients and interpreting those symptoms to land on a diagnosis. In early tests, the system outperformed doctors in accurately diagnosing simulated patient case studies. In 2024 test, in a 2024 test similar to the one Microsoft performed using case studies, the earlier version of Google's system accurately diagnosed 59% of cases compared to human doctors' rate of 33. So it was nearly double. If confirmed, results like these could set the stage for introducing high-quality medical expertise in parts of the world that may not currently have access to major academic institutions or cutting-edge healthcare. And this is in quotes by one of the lead researchers. He said, "My primary focus in the next 5 to 10 years is to make sure everybody in the world gets access to the very best medical advice of all kind. We are very, very excited about this."
Hey, I can answer one of your questions.
Which one?
Do you want to know which one? The, I know you have lots of them. The first
What is the meaning of life?
the first surgery, the earliest
Ah.
known surgery was trepanation by prehistoric humans. So they found, now we know carbon dating and stuff is not very helpful or accurate. But from their findings, which again, I don't fully trust, they found that there were drilling or scraping holes in skulls that had bone healing, even some of them, which means some cases they survived. So probably drilling a hole to maybe relieve pressure, or who knows what their reason for it was, but probably treating head injuries, relieving intracranial pressure, or releasing evil spirits. That's their best guess.
Holy surgery, Batman.
That's right. And then the first documented surgeon by name was out of India in 600 BC.
Wow.
Or BCE. Shusruta Samhita. Yep, and he wrote the Shusruta. I can't say it anytime. Shusruta Samhita surgical textbook. He wrote that. He's often called the father of surgery. And he described over 300 different surgical procedures and 120 surgical instruments. He performed surgeries such as cataract, hernia repairs, reconstructive procedures, including nose reconstruction, early plastic surgery. I'm like, don't touch my eyeballs. You've never done this before? Don't touch my eyeballs. You're not.
I don't know how many
not
people
touching
he
my eyeballs.
killed.
Right.
So,
Wow. Okay. By the
There
way, we like BC, not BCE.
yeah.
Anyways,
I don't even know when those things changed. When did those things change?
well, when they want to take Christ out of it, BC is before Christ and BCE is before Common Era.
I'll go with BC.
Wired magazine talked about the same thing. Microsoft says its new AI system diagnosed patients 4 times more accurately than human doctors. The tech giant approached several top Google researchers to help build a powerful AI tool that can diagnose patients and potentially cut healthcare costs. And they also talked about how it was 4 times more accurate. The CEO of the company is Mustafa Suleiman. Sounds Middle Eastern.
Does.
The experiment tested whether a tool could correctly diagnose a patient with an ailment, mimicking work typically done by a human doctor. Microsoft team used 304 case studies sourced from the New England Journal of Medicine. So these numbers are a little more accurate. That one said roughly 300. This is exactly 304. They're reporting on the same thing. A language model broke down each case into a step-by-step process that a doctor could perform in order to reach a diagnosis. Microsoft's researchers then built a system called MAI Diagnostic Orchestrator that queries several leading AI models. Same thing we talked about. It has the AI models are OpenAI's GPT, Google's Gemini, Anthropic's Cloud, Meta's Llama, and xAI's Grok. So some of those I've heard of, some I have not, in a way that loosely mimics several human experts working together. In their experiment, the diagnostic orchestrator outperformed human doctors, achieving accuracy of 80% compared to doctors' 20%, which we reported on already. It also reduced cost by 20% by selecting less expensive tests and procedures. So I always like reducing cost.
Right.
AI is already widely used in some parts of the U.S. healthcare industry, including helping radiologists interpret scans. Latest multimodal AI models have the potential to act as more general diagnostic tools, though the use of AI in healthcare raises its own issues, particularly related to bias from training data that's skewed toward particular demographics. I mean, bottom line is this: the every medical doctor believes certain things, and I've noticed it's just based on what they were taught. And whoever got to them first, they believe that. But I think we're all the same too. Like the first person who taught me, although first person who taught me about chiropractic, I threw everything they taught me out because they were wrong. But it took 8 years. I was in practice for 8 years before I realized I'm not doing it correctly. And there's a lot more to healthcare and just the innate wisdom of the body. So it says Microsoft has not yet decided if it will try to commercialize the technology, but the same executive who spoke on the condition of anonymity said the company could integrate it into Bing to help users diagnose ailments. What I like about this is that people who don't have access to doctors, like these remote villages, because I've heard they all have cell phones, even though there's no hospitals and doctors.
Right.
So if they can just use their cell phone and click on the app and say, "Hey, I've got a fever and chills, and there's, I don't know, green stuff coming out of my nose. What do you think it is?" And have the AI ask a few questions, take a picture, and be like, "Oh, okay, go eat that blue flower that grows by the river, and you'll be fine."
Right.
But I don't think the AI can diagnose psychosomatic conditions.
Yeah.
I wonder. Like, do you think the AI is going to be smart enough to say it's all in your head? I don't know. Or
I have 2 words for you. Stop it.
stop it. Or would AI ever try a placebo as a treatment? So that's why I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it can get that smart.
I did ask Atlas like where he thought things would. I said, how long do you think it'll take before AI takes over, a lot of our medical, stuff, as far as diagnosis and whatnot. And he gave a very conservative like timeline. Now to 5 years, AI becomes co-pilot in most hospitals, generating differentials, highlighting likely diagnoses, flagging dangerous misuse or misses. Some specialties like radiology, pathology, etc., move towards AI first reads and human confirmation, and then goes on for like 5 to 10 years. I was like, dude, I think you're being super conservative. And he's like, okay, you're probably right. With all of this stuff coming up, here's what, if the trends stay and we have funding, here's what we would likely see. And then he said within 5 years, AI would be doing the first triage and first pass in almost all ER and urgent care settings.
Wow.
So
there's a good book called Synchronicity is Near, which was written about, I don't know, 13 years ago and predicted what it would look like 10 years later. Then 10 years later, he was right about a lot of the predictions. Synchronicity to him means when humans and computers become one. Like
transhumanism.
We interact together as one. And so he wrote a second book 2 or 3 years ago called Synchronicity is Nearer. And so anyways, I've started listening to the Audible on that one, and it's very interesting. Very interesting.
I think whatever we see on the commercial side right now is just know that they are so much further along on the back end on what they haven't released yet.
Oh yeah.
And so I think it's very likely that they're so much further ahead than what we think. And then when stuff starts coming out, it's going to be like, it's going to go so fast and it's going to be so much further technologically than what we expect. I think it's going to be surprising.
Yeah, and I think the military has a lot of that stuff.
Oh,
you know,
100%.
beforehand. So,
yeah. Well, they have a nice base of population to test and experiment things on, which is little sad.
They've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
But this also talked about how AI can't possibly know what a patient's tolerance would be to certain things. So that's
Like
why you reduce dose based on you think this person may not tolerate something or whatever.
But how does a human know that too?
Well, nowadays doctors don't get to know their patients that well.
That's what I'm saying.
Like chiropractors, we know our patients really, really well.
But you see them really frequently.
Sometimes we're seeing them 3, 4, 5 times a week. And so we really get, and then we've known them for years. I've patients I've known for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I know exactly what they can tolerate and they can't tolerate. In the old days, doctors knew their patients really well.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they look at the chart, they just read the summary of it, and I mean, in that sense, the AI is going to be way better.
Well, and you don't know if you're seeing the same doctor, if you're going to see a
Right.
nurse practitioner or a PA, like it could be anybody in the practice too. So,
Yeah.
which we know there's some benefit to that, because if one doctor misses something or you find you have better rapport, like we even have our doctors seeing multiple patients, but I think there are certain times when it's important to have consistency, with one physician. So, speaking of doctors and patients, I know here in a second we need to let Dr. Michael go because he has a boatload of patients he's
That's
getting
right.
to adjust.
Yeah.
That's right. Well,
Yep.
I hope you found that as interesting as we did.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty cool to see how we can have multiple AI models argue with each other and come up with diagnosis for patients. I also wish we could build some empathy into these models, because that would be lacking. I know there's a
Yeah.
lot of doctors who really have a heart for helping, like Cassie Mead and Callie Mead, the two of them. I mean, they tear up when they talk about the healthcare system and how
Mhm.
people are getting hurt by it. I want a doctor who gets teary-eyed when they
Yeah.
talk about their patient. I
Right.
think that's powerful, and you're not going to get that from AI. So anyways, I hope we keep our doctors, and I hope more people go to chiropractors on a regular basis, and I hope we all get healthier. So on that note, thank you for joining us, Dr. Michael. Have a great afternoon, and thanks everybody for
Randy?
joining us. We will be back with you in 2 to 3 days for another episode.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.